Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Spake Up Podcast. This is going to be another great week. Last week, very emotional story. Mary Jo Vontillo. It was great. We got a lot of great feedback from that. And today is going to be a really, really good one as well. So make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button. Send us your feedback, your thoughts. If you've got a great guest idea, send it your way. I've actually been having people reach out to me and pitch people to me, and I love it because there's so many really cool stories out there that sometimes I miss. And so if you have someone or know someone, go ahead and let me know. Shoot me a DM. Today's guest certainly going to be a fun one that I'm really excited to talk to because I actually, as I started kind of like digging into his backstory, I realized that I have a lot like similar things in common with him, and I can relate to him in many different ways, which is ultimately what I really look for when I start to kind of research a guest, because I think that that's how obviously we can have really great conversations if you can relate to somebody on a certain level. So I kind of try to use those journalistic research skills to kind of dig down and try to figure out the common theme between my guest and myself. And certainly there are a lot of differences between myself and my guest today, but I think there are a lot of things that we have in common, and we're going to get to some of those. So today's guest is Elvis Francois, who is the singing surgeon. Yes, he was raised in Miami to Haitian immigrants and a single dad. I'm from South Florida. We'll talk about that. So there's one of the common themes. He completed a 5-year orthopedic surgery residency at the Mayo Clinic, followed by a 3-month spine surgery fellowship at Harvard Medical School. I do not have that in common with him, I'm sorry to say. Wish I did, but I don't. Bachelor's degree in neuroscience and biology. But that is just half of the story of Elvis. That's the medical side of what he does. That is the side that, as he will say, heals the body. But that's just half of who he is, because I think Elvis knew from a very young age. I know some of the notes that I got sent about him and some of the things I read is he said when he was in medical school, he kind of started to realize that there was another powerful thing that could really heal. I know that he said he learned that in medical school, but I think he kind of knew it all along, and realized that medicine can only go so far in healing a person. And he likes to say that medicine heals the body, music heals the soul. I love that. How true. So in 2020, during a time when obviously we were all looking for a lot of healing, physically and with our soul as well, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Elvis, a singing surgeon, well, he started to show all of us on social media what he does and how he heals. And the singing surgeon was born. He sang on network TV. He was at the 2020 Indianapolis 500, Monday Night Football. He's released albums on The Masked Singer. And he was also named to one of People's Sexiest Men Alive in 2020. So let's say hello to Dr. Elvis, the singing surgeon, one of the sexiest men alive. I'm sure you didn't get any hell about that when you walked into the operating room the next day.
Quite a bit, quite a lot of April Fool's jokes, and quite a lot of people make it a good fun, but it put a lot of smiles on people's faces. So I allowed it. I accepted it. It was all very surreal to also hear all those things, but honored to be here with you today.
Yeah. Did they have like the picture of you like all in the operating room? Like when you went in, like I could see doctors doing that.
Well, the true story exactly. I had no idea that was going to happen. I was actually operating it. I was in my fellowship for my last year of training, and so I'm getting done with surgery. And as I come out, one of the nurses, she comes in, she's like, "Is this real?" And she pulls it up on Instagram. And I thought it was a joke, because usually a lot of the other doctors will prank each other, and so it ended up being a real funny thing across the entire hospital, and a cool way to kind of just break the ice with patients.
I love that. So I wore my, if you can see it, I wore my Loverboy shirt today. Can you see it?
Big fan. Of course. Big fan.
Really? So this was my first concert. So I was
Oh,
7 years old at this concert. It was Quiet Riot and Loverboy. So I like to wear like shirts for my podcast. And I figured since we were singing today, maybe.
it's full. Of course. It's full circle. It's full circle. I love it.
What was your first concert?
My first concert was, I actually went to an Alicia Keys concert when I was in high school, and it just blew my mind. She was singing New York, and so it was a lot of a lot to take in, but one of those memories that you hold on to for a long time.
She can rock it like nobody else, can't she? When she gets, did you see her on those dueling pianos at one time? I
Right.
think it was like
Insane. I could barely play half of a piano. So to play two pianos and sing at the same time, insane. Insane.
She's badass. Okay. So some of the things I heard from you, so we'll do a little trivia here, is that some of your musical inspirations were Queen, Brian McKnight, and Boyz II Men. I love Queen too. So Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, or Another One Bites the Dust. Which one are we going with?
Bohemian Rhapsody. It's such a magical, unique one of one. And I remember watching the documentary when they pitched that song. Like the executives and producers were like, "This is insane. This is no one's ever done this before," and they told them not to put it out. And so it's amazing to see. So I would have to go Bohemian Rhapsody for many reasons.
Takes you on a ride, doesn't it?
Right,
It's like
right,
8 songs in one. Every little piece is a masterpiece of its own, for
right.
sure. Brian McKnight, One Last Cry, or Back at One.
Oh wow! Oh these. Oh wow! This is
Don't
this
try,
is
I
this
don't listen. I'm a '90s girl from South Florida. Let's not
this
even.
is
We're not even going to go there.
this is good. Those are two. So I would have to go with One Last Cry. One Last
Yeah,
Cry. Yeah, One
I
Last
think so
Cry.
too.
He's the only person who could sing that song. I've heard many covers. I've only heard it done that well once by the legend himself.
I love it. Okay, this is going to be a tough one, right? Boys to Men. I mean, I could have gone in so many different ways. End of the Road or Motown Philly?
Ooh, wow. So a good ballad with like the big "Although
Oh my
we
God. Why
go."
doesn't he love me?
Wow, I was I hadn't even had my first girlfriend yet when that song came out, and I was like, my heart is broken, and I don't even know what love actually is. That was actually my first experience.
But Motown Philly, man, you're in the car driving
You're
down.
right,
You're like do 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 da
right,
da do do do
right.
da. Go ahead, do it. Let's sing it. Come on, we can.
Dun, 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 da, da, dun, 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 da, 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 da.
It's so good. Da
Oh,
da
oh,
da.
there. Oh,
Motown. Yeah, but I heard a story that's one of the ways that you kind of started singing is like some kids were on a playground. Is that an accurate story? Like I don't know what playground you're on, but I didn't have kids singing a cappella like they did with Boys to Men.
no, it was a really, really cool story. So I grew up mostly in Miami. So love the Florida connection, and then I moved to Orlando, and this is like right at the beginning of high school, and during the time, me and my brother, we didn't know any of the people who we grew up with. So one of the guys, he's outside kind of playing by the playground, and he comes over to me and my brother and he says, "Hey, do you guys know how to sing?" And so I would just sing for fun, but my brother told him, "Yes, we do." And I looked at my brother like, "Dude, we don't. We're not singers." And he like nudges me. He's like, just say yes, just say yes. So then he tells us that he has an a cappella group and he's gonna teach us the parts. And then since then, I've never stopped singing. So it's amazing when you say yes to life, like how much life could change. Because I don't know what else I'd be doing. Maybe I'd be playing golf somewhere, but music changed my life ever since then.
It did. I want to get into a little bit about your backstory. My son is 15. I have twin boys. One of my sons is in musical theater, and like he literally walks around this house. He is singing like all day long, every day. Like it's almost to the like I just look at him and I'm like, I love you so much. Like right now it's Hades Town. Like he's prepping for that, but it's. I mean, he sings. Is that you? Is that you? Like just all day?
Yeah, nonstop all day. I think at first people are like, "Oh, that's really, really cool," but then after like the eighth hour, people start throwing things at me. I get noise complaints by my neighbors. But your
Get
son,
it.
the more he sings, the more he enjoys he has the music bug. The better he'll get, and then the happier he'll be with music.
Yeah, I was going to bring him in here to sing with you because I mean he's probably downstairs right now singing something. I can't believe I don't hear him. Let's get to your upbringing because I think it's so fascinating. So, like I said, I grew up down in South Florida. I know that area very, very well. I was there through my formative years. Tough place to grow up.
Right.
Your parents were they born in Haiti? Did they come over from Haiti?
Yeah, no, yeah. So I grew up in Miami, but both of my parents are originally from Haiti. Right before I was born, the year before, my mom moved here. My dad was a teacher and educator in Haiti, and he stayed there for the first few years, and then came and joined my mom. And so they both raised me in Miami. Bounced around between there and Orlando mostly growing up.
Yeah, I looked up Elvis. Was Elvis popular in Haiti? Because I heard that your mom named you after Elvis Presley, and the answer was no. So how did like she hear about Elvis Presley to name you?
You know, that's a good. Well, I don't know her first Elvis Presley interaction. I do know all of my uncles, aunts. They would tell me that whenever Elvis Presley was on TV in Haiti, she would like try to record the concerts.
Oh,
She would always be listening to the music. And so the story is, initially she was going to name me Gregory, but she, a few months before I was born, had a dream that she was at an Elvis Presley concert. She was an Elvis Presley fan ever since, and even fascinatingly, growing up in middle school, actually, excuse me, like in elementary school, she would dress me up as Elvis Presley for Halloween. So a lot of childhood trauma that I'm still
I was
sifting
gonna say,
through.
do you love her or hate her for that?
I was like, who would do this to a child?
That is great. Your dad had no hey man, I think we got to rethink this name. Gregory might sound a little bit better.
Right. Well, he was still in Haiti when I
Oh,
was
he had no
born.
choice.
Right. So he had no choice. He was like, do not do not do this. But it was too
Oh,
late. But mom
I
mom
love
knows
it.
best. Mom knows best. She knows best.
I love it because I'm sure that when you walk into those, into some of those rooms for your patients, like that is hi, I'm Dr. Gregory is a lot different than hi, I'm Dr. Elvis, right? Like I'm sure people go, really?
It's like, really, yeah. I get that a lot. And the cool thing is it's like an icebreaker. Like, it's something, that puts a smile on people's faces. I don't dress up like Elvis Presley as my mom used to do when I was a
No.
kid, but it definitely helps to kind of put a smile on someone's face and start a conversation.
So like I mentioned, I'm from South Florida and I know that you moved to Orlando, but I definitely think that my experience, at least in experience, a lot of my friends growing up down there, it's tough to get out. It's tough to kind of get out and succeed. And especially, the background that you came from where your parents are coming over from Haiti trying to make a new life for you guys. When you kind of reflect on what it was, maybe some of the, I don't know, some of the morals, some of the things that your parents instilled in you, some of the, I don't know, some of the moments in your
Okay.
life. How do you think you were able to beat the odds?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think you bring up a great point about sometimes where you start can really dictate where you go in life. And so for me, interesting, I had my father was really instrumental in seeing things that I couldn't see as a young man. Growing up in Miami, I would get in trouble a lot. So when I was in sixth grade, I was getting like straight A's academically. But back then, I don't know if they still do now, you'd get behavioral grades, and I would have straight, like the worst, probably C's and below for behavior. And in seventh grade, I got suspended 12 times. And then yeah, then I got expelled. So then my dad was really like trying to I had a lot of energy as a kid, and I was always running around and never paying attention, but always had a passion for academics. A new scene with a new environment really opened my eyes to how different I could be if I shifted my focus. So that was really what kind of created an entire butterfly effect for my career life and my life path.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The school that I went to in South Florida called Piper High School, it was really bad when I was growing up there, really bad. I mean, bad. And like my friends and I will talk about that a lot where it's a school back then. Like I wouldn't send my kids to school, with some of the situations that we had to go to. And so to get up and move, right? Like
Right.
and say I have to relocate for the betterment of some people don't have the awareness to do that. Some people don't have the ability. You're in Miami. It takes you 8 hours to get out of the state of Florida. It's not that easy. Like, you're in Atlanta right now. I think I'm in Charlotte. Like if I go 8 hours, I'm in a completely different state, maybe even 3 different states, but Florida is not so easy. So what a gracious thing for sure. And then of course you realize the power of song on a playground in Orlando. Was that your first love, music? Or at what point did you kind of go, you said you liked academics, but what point did you say, maybe I
I
want to be a doctor one day?
When I was in sixth grade, my father was at that time kind of raising me and my brother as a single father. So he's working multiple jobs, kind of taking care of us and the family at home, but then also supporting, family back in Haiti. So as a single father, he's a cab driver. He was teaching French and English in schools. He was also working quite a bit at the church. So he was doing his best to take care of us as a provider, as an only father, but it was hard for him to kind of take care of these two rambunctious boys who are constantly getting in trouble. In the midst of that, though, my first memory of how powerful music and how powerful song could be was when we were in sixth grade. I came home, there was an eviction letter on the door. And at that time, I didn't really know what that meant, but there was like this bright orange sign. My dad came home and he was like, hey, so me and my brother walked home from school. My dad says, hey, just kind of, he's packing things in our bag and putting them in the car. And he tells me and my brother, hey, just pack your things. We're going to go spend some time away. And through the entire time, he was humming this one song. It's a French a French song about essentially going through a storm, but then always realizing that you have a greater guide and a greater purpose. And so anyone would tell you, my dad is a terrible singer, like he's tone deaf, and so but he was singing it with such passion, and it just gave him the sense of like peace and solace. And so my earliest memories of music growing up weren't from like people who were amazing musicians or who had amazing talent, but people who would sing or find music to connect them with purpose in life. And so that was my first memory of how moving music could be in that space. And then me and my brother would always kind of, migrate to different songs that you hear growing up. But it wasn't until I got to Orlando where I started to sing with a good friend of mine, Tommy G, that I realized how powerful music could be when you're expressing it, when you are engaging in it. And so that was sort of my journey from listener to active participation.
Do you ever play that song that your dad was humming in the car? Is just like when you need some sort of comfort?
Absolutely, absolutely. The it's a song called Le Gouvernail, which is a song that is often sung in sort of like it's a Christian spiritual song written in the 1700s about a gentleman who's a sailor and he's going through a storm. And once he realizes that no matter how hard he rows or no matter how high he would put the sails up, that he is not fully in control of everything that happens around him. The relinquishment of the idea that you can control everything also gives you a certain control of peace over yourself. And so it's a beautiful song that the lyrics to me kind of really have guided me in, stressful times, at the hospital or with patients, that it gives you a certain calmness and certainty in the midst of, the madness. So I go back to that song pretty often. And my dad still sings it to this day.
Your dad, some of the interviews I watched and just listening to you talk about him, seems like a really solid dude, man. Like if you want to have a dad, like it sounds like this is the guy that you want to pick. It was all about you and your brother.
Yeah, I mean, and very much so. And even to this day, when I reach out to him and I ask, "Hey, what can I take care of?" He always his focus is always on, "Hey, I'm okay, but what can we do for those around us?" And it's a very, especially in today's day and age where we're very much kind of hyper aware and focused on our individual lives. There's a certain level of gratitude that you have once you start to look external or look outward and look towards those around you who may not have as much, because not only does it allow you to have a sense of purpose in helping, but it also reminds you like, hey, if you're alive and you're well and you're breathing and you can look to tomorrow, then there are much more reasons to be happy and much more reasons to find light. So my father he taught me those lessons at a very, very early age by example in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And so it's really, really cool to to be in a position where I could kind of share those stories and memories with people.
That's awesome. So did you sing in high school? Did you sing in high school, musicals? Did you do any of that stuff? Like, why didn't you go into music if you found that at a young age?
That is a great question. So in high school that's when I started to sing. And at the time I really didn't know melodies. I didn't really know anything. So a lot of it was really like just performing for the first time or singing the national anthem with my friends. But a lot of it was I always knew that I wanted to become a physician and I wanted to go into medicine. So that was
Why?
always the drive.
Why
Well,
that?
yeah, that's a great. So growing up, we would always go back to Haiti. And when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I have an uncle who was an orthopedic surgeon on the island. There are not many at the time. There were less than 10 to 15 orthopedic surgeons on an island of about 9 to 10 million people at the time. So when I would shadow him and I would actually just see people travel across the entire island, like hours or days walking, just to
Wow.
see him. And so seeing the impact that he would be able to have on patients, and people who didn't have much to give would come and they would, it was a sort of a bartering system of them kind of giving what they could. And seeing the impact that he had, it was a reminder for me that I could sort of dedicate my life to this practice. So that was always in the back of my head, that
Wow.
medicine and was something that I always wanted to pursue. And then music, it's hard to really do both when you're training and you got to go to college for 4 years, med school for 4 years, fellowship for a year or two, and then finally come out of it. So I've been in that tunnel of training for about 14 years, and so that prompted, I never really had an idea or a thought in my mind that music would be something that I would be able to share on a bigger stage.
So were you in high school musicals? Did you do any of that stuff? Like, what roles did you play? If so, I'm so fat. My kid, like I said, my kid is all over it.
Musicals. So I used to love watching musicals. Never did any high school musicals. There were a couple like Les Miserables. I was in that for a little bit. But at the time though, I was so timid and so like I don't even know how to sing. These kids can sing so much better than me. They've been training since they were 5 years old. I just started singing like 6 months ago. So I would always be in the back of the choir, just kind of humbly or quietly singing. And I didn't really get a chance to be on the stage in any of those events. So throughout high school, I didn't do much, but once I got to college, I started doing open mics and kind of like open mic spaces and singing in that sense, and then doing choir. But I was a church choir kid in high school, so that's kind of where I learned sort of the basics, so to speak.
Yeah, because I want to play one of your clips. Can we pull up one of those clips, Spencer?
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us.
I'm gonna cry. You're like,
Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You might say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday that you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You might say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday that you will join us, and the world will live as one.
what a gift.
Thank you.
I mean, and to think that medicine was your calling, right? And then you realize that there's a human being that can do that, and that's you. And that is such a gift that maybe wouldn't have been realized because you weren't sort of the guy that was in the plays or doing this or doing that, like in medicine. But if we weren't able to hear that, that's a loss.
Mm.
That's beautiful, man.
Well, I really appreciate that. Even till this day, like just thinking of the storyline, because none of those things were. I, I guess if you asked me before that we would be here talking about moments like that, there's no. I would laugh. I would be like, never in a million years. And I think that's the beautiful part about it, because the reason we sat and sang that song, the guy on the piano, Dr. William Robinson, he's also a spine surgeon in Dallas, Texas. But at the time, we were kind of talking about, hey, let's find something to share like musically. And so he brought that song up. And when I read the lyrics, and obviously it's a song that we've all heard before, but it reminds you of a world where like there's so many things dividing us, so many things sort of labeling different groups of people. But it was really amazing to share. And I had no idea, never in a million years, that the reach would be what it was. But the most beautiful thing is just seeing the impact that it had on people. And yeah, it's something that I'm beyond honored and have been able to share, and thankful, beyond thankful. And there's a lot of gratitude there as well.
Did you have formal training? Any formal training, or is that just God placing his hands on those vocal cords of yours?
All God.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never had any training. All lessons from a higher power, definitely God
Wow.
pouring in. And so a true blessing in a lot of ways.
What is it? What is it like? I wish that I could. I think I can sing sometimes. I wish that I could sing. My grandfather was actually a pretty good singer.
Amazing.
I wish that I had that power, like to lose myself in a note and allow my voice to just take it where my voice wants it to go, and it to stay on a straight line. And even if it doesn't stay on a straight line, to curve. I guess that's how I hear music, right? And so what is that like? Like what does that feel like to be able to let your voice just go like that?
Yeah, that's a very very powerful question. A lot of it, for me at least, and I obviously from a personal standpoint, I feel like music is powerful because there's no group of people on the planet or no culture that doesn't have some sort of music. And it's there. It's fascinating because no matter who you are, there's a song that might be your favorite song. Whenever I was initially learning and train or thinking about songs and trying to sing them, I think the most important thing was just how does it feel, and then just losing yourself in that space. And there is some element of disconnecting, like how much you're thinking from how much you're feeling. And even when I listen to that, I'm like, oh, that note wasn't perfect,
Of
or
course, that's how you listen to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
could have held that a little bit longer, or just do a
Yeah.
little vibrato there. But a lot of it is feel, and that's what music reminded me. Because one amazing part of that story is that prior to that, I was actually going through a rough patch myself, and sitting there and singing that, I was really just pouring myself into the song and pouring myself into the meaning behind the song. And so I think a lot of it is once you could let go and in passion, there's a beautiful part of life that opens up to you.
Yeah, it's amazing how you have the ability to, like you said, you have the ability to fix people physically, and you have the ability to fix people inwardly, right? In their soul as well, by doing that voice of yours. I want to get to the medicine side just a little bit. I thought about this question. You're in a operating room. I know you're orthopedic surgeon right now, but I know that you've seen pretty much everything that there is when it comes to medicine. Some of that's not great. How does that room, that small little room, impact sort of your whole view of the world? Being a doctor, you're in this small room, four walls, with however many people, with a human being that you're, either working on or trying to save or whatever. How in the world does that sort of impact your views of the big world?
Oh, that's a very very profound question. I think for me, one of the most profound impacts or experiences that I've had with medicine was not really as a provider, but as a potential patient. When I was in 11th grade, I had a really bad episode of severe stomach pain. It just came out of nowhere. I was with my friends at my house. We're hanging out, and I literally felt like someone was ripping, my my liver out of my body. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this, I don't know what this is. I've never been sick before. This may be it. And I remember hearing the sound of the ambulance. Like my parents coming rushing in, they're calling, no one knows what to do, but hearing the sound of the ambulance. And I just remember realizing that the louder it got, the closer I was to someone being able to help me. And when the EMTs came in, they started, their procedure to stabilize things. I vividly remember, man, these people, I've never met them before. I don't know who they are, but they have taken time out of their life to learn how to help get me safe.
Mm.
Then I get to the hospital, I'm laying there. Then, a doctor comes in, and he's this Russian gentleman who's very seasoned, gray hair, and I'm like, man, I don't know what's wrong with my body, but he knows and he can help. As did the nurse, and as did the tech who came in, and the person who checked us in. So for me, when I finally, all those years later, matriculated through medical school and training to become a doctor, and the first time I actually walked into an operating room as a surgeon, I remember looking over the drapes and seeing two anesthesiologists who had spent their life training to make sure that this patient can get through surgery. Seeing a scrub tech who had all the instruments ready, who was ready to hand the scalpel, hand the blade, and they knew exactly, what the best that they could do. The custodial staff who cleaned the entire room to make
Yeah.
sure. So for me, when I'm in those walls and I look around and I see all these people from all walks of life, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't
Mm.
matter what country you're from, like we're all there, and there's one patient lying down on a bed getting ready to go to sleep for us to help them with surgery. So for me, it's a reminder that, like, in all the madness of the world, the beauty of what it means to be a human being is when we all come together with a common goal. And So whenever I'm in an OR, it's a beautiful thing to see because you've got all these years of training and all these walks of life there to help one person. And so the first time I saw that was as a patient, and it's every time I walk into an OR, it's very sacred to realize like, hey, we're here uh, to help this one person live a better life without pain.
That's powerful, man. Because I'll tell you, I recently had a similar experience to what you said you experienced when you were 11. I passed out. I had complications from a surgery. Ambulance comes, takes me to the hospital. I think same thing, right? This is it. Nice. It's been a good run, right? Like you don't
Right.
know what's going on, right? Blood pressure's down. You don't know why you passed out. There's blood, like you're just whatever. And you get to the hospital. And I just like when I left there, I was so thankful for those nurses and the doctors who were so incredibly gracious and kind and sweet and patient and loving, right? Like you're laying there scared and you don't know. And they're just giving their attention and their energy and their love to you. And it makes you feel, and I have never been in that situation before. I've had plenty of surgeries. My first surgery was actually, I had scoliosis when I was, I think 9. So I had the Harrington rods put on my back, but I was super young. And so I've had tons of surgeries, but never in a situation where you really realize the humanity of what, like what you just said, right? Everyone in there to make, like, to help you. Like you guys are servers, right? Like you guys are trained, skilled in the ability to make a human being feel better, live, survive, whatever. And yeah, I really felt that recently. So that's interesting that you said that story. And when I said the orthopedic surgeon, when they told me about you, I was like, well, yeah, I'm an orthopedic surgeon's dream. I got rods in my back. I had a hamstring surgery. I had, detached all 3 hamstrings. I had that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I'm like a walking, like they're going to find me one day. They're going to be like, what the hell happened to this one?
Wow, we'll put you in the textbook. We'll put you in the textbook.
Yeah.
Exhibit A, patient A.
She's got rods. She's got this. Like, what in the world? What did this woman do? Who was the first person that you sang to? The first patient that you sang to?
Oh, wow. That's the first patient. The first patient would likely be after that video because before that video.
Oh my gosh, you didn't sing to anyone before this video?
Well, no, the first patient who asked me to sing was probably after that video. Before that, we would do one of the cool things we would do when I trained at the Mayo Clinic. There are pianos around the entire hospital, and so if you're walking in the lobby, there are pianos, and so anyone could walk up and play. Yeah, so there are pianos around the entire Mayo Clinic, and so what we would often do is we'd sit down and just play music, and nurses walk by, patients walk by, and we'll sing songs. The most memorable is there was and also to speak about the power of togetherness and bringing folks together across different specialties. There was a patient and this was my 4th year of training at Mayo Clinic, who was terminally ill, and his wife at the time wanted to actually get married. Well, his fiance at the time.
Picture, by the way.
Yeah, which honestly, that to me was one of the most memorable sort of experiences. So his fiance at the time realized that he was terminally ill and wanted to actually to get married while they were there. So the fellow that you see in the middle, she calls myself and Dr. Robinson and asks us if we would be open to, setting things up as a wedding ceremony in the hospital. So it was really, really neat to see they brought in a pastor who actually conducted the ceremony. We brought in a keyboard. The nurses brought cakes, and then we also they brought an extra wedding dress for her, and it was a really, really beautiful thing to see people coming from all walks of life. And the reason I had that picture is because the woman there sent me that photo a few weeks ago as a reminder of the moment that we all shared. But truly one of the most beautiful moments that we all.
I wanted to ask you about this picture, if you were nervous to sing that, because that's a powerful moment, right? To be asked to do that.
Beyond, and a lot of it is really the realization that, because I had no idea. I mean, when we sat down to sing that song "Imagine" that you played earlier, never in a million years could I have imagined that it could resonate with so many people, but more so that we could kind of find ways to connect with people on such a deep level. And I know many people who might be watching this, maybe you're not a singer, maybe you're not a physician, whatever walk of life that you are, there's something that connects all of us that you are also connected to And so whatever that thing is, find a way to connect with the next person, the person next to you. And sometimes it might make looking at that Excel spreadsheet a little easier, or looking at those stats a little easier. So it goes a long way.
Well, that's what I said when I first started this podcast, is when I start to kind of research guests and stuff. Like I had a Savannah Banana on. It's like, how am I going to relate to a 24-year-old kid from Manhattan Beach, California, who plays baseball, a sport I've never covered? And so what is it that I kind of try to dig really deep, and what is it, that human level, or what is it, those things that we can relate to? And some of those things I mentioned that you and I have in common. But I find, really honestly, that music, I'm such a huge fan of all kinds of music. And when I hear you sing, it takes me to a different place. And
Thank you.
that is first and foremost, definitely the connection. I could listen to you sing all day. I
I
won't keep you
appreciate it.
much longer. No
No
problem.
worries.
Keep doing it. Listen, I can't believe it. Makes me really sad to think that that you didn't have this your whole life, right? It's almost like if Tiger Woods had never, and I know it's a big difference, but you think about, like, Tiger Woods never picked up a golf club, like what would people be missing out on if we didn't get to experience that? So that's really awesome. And
No, I
this
appreciate
is
that.
such a vague, big question, but like, how has your life changed since 2020, since posting that video?
Uh, I would say remarkably, in many ways that I could not have imagined. One thing I do want to say is to go back to that earlier point of like not imagining like how different things could be. There were during that time where we would kind of sit down and play music around the hospital. There were other doctors who would tell us, "Hey, listen, you guys maybe just don't sing and record it," or that's kind of some folks kind of making fun or saying it's cheesy, or others saying, "Hey, maybe you should kind of just do the music thing and release those things after you're done training." And so throughout life, you'll get these other roadblocks that pop up that
Wow.
may keep you from being able to share moments like that. And the intention wasn't really to do anything more than to kind of share music with people. So to answer your second question, I cannot imagine a major part of my life where that hasn't impacted me. I think prior to that, I mostly, I guess the biggest impact has largely been how I practice medicine. Throughout the journey, you get so used to looking at an x-ray, looking at, how you can help someone with whatever the problem that they may have is. But then you realize, like, hey, we all decided to help people through medicine because they're people. And so the music kind of reminded me and reconnected me to that humanity. But honestly, in every single aspect of my life, if I'm at a gas station, somebody might ask me to sing a song, and which is really
Uh-huh.
cool. If it's a kid who's a pediatric patient who asked me to sing a song, or music that I get the honor and opportunity to release. So literally I can't imagine what my life would have looked like at this point without music, but I'm so thrilled that I'm able to have this opportunity to share both.
What do you listen to in the operating room when you're operating?
That's a great question. Most in every single case, because spine surgery can be very long at times. Cases could last 1 or 2 hours. Some longer cases could be 6 to 8 hours. And so there are elements where, you got to be really, 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 you turn everything down and have the music very, very low so that everyone can hear clearly. But there are also other parts of the procedure where, changing up the monotony can also help you focus. So sometimes I'll listen to jazz, I'll listen to some classical music for those first parts. Towards the end of the case, where, we're wrapping things up, I usually ask patients before surgery what's their favorite song to wake up to, so that even if they don't remember it, I don't know. I had a
Aw.
patient who really, really loves Frank Sinatra. So when she woke up, that was the first thing she heard. So, but for me, I listen to a wide range. It could be, today's hits, top 40, 90s R&B is always on the rotation as well. And then obviously for the Swifties, everyone in the OR loves Taylor Swift. So she's been on repeat in every operating room, I'm sure, in America for the for the past week.
I love me some 90s R&B, as mentioned. Listen, Boyz II Men, all that stuff, like New
Always,
Edition. Maybe that's not
always.
90s R&B, but like, all of that stuff, like Quiet Storm from back. Did you listen to
Oh,
Freddie? What was it? Freddie Storm, Quiet Storm,
so
Freddie
you're good at this. You're very good at this.
Freddie Cruz. Was
No,
it Freddie Cruz, The
Freddie,
Quiet Storm on
the
Hot
Quiet Storm.
95?
Oh my goodness. I mean, that just brought up so many amazing memories. The Quiet Storm, the playlists were always great, and then also the vocal there with the Quiet Storm. Listening to the Quiet Storm, I can't even do it if I tried. But
Oh, like, so like, I can't wait to get to school each day. Do you remember that? Was it? Oh my gosh, who
that's
sang that song?
I wouldn't even remember. I'm drawing a
And then
blank.
like Guy, like Let's Chill.
Yeah,
Do you remember
yeah.
all?
Let's
Oh,
chill. Oh,
I love you.
classics. These are all classics. Whenever these songs come on, I go instantly down memory lane, and always puts a smile on my face.
Yeah,
So always on repeat.
two occasions. That's another
Two
good one.
occasions.
Oh,
Oh,
that was like part of the tape, right? The slow
yeah,
jam tape.
on the slow jam tape. That whole era was really like how I actually learned how to do riffs and runs and like
Yeah.
kind of stretch your vocals, especially Brian McKnight, a lot of Brian McKnight, a lot of Boyz II Men. But the full range of '90s arsenal, '90s
The
R&B.
90s were the best. So not only did you have that, you had grunge, you had gangster rap coming
Oh
out,
yeah,
like you had alternative music. Like, I mean, you think about it, like you had like 9 Inch Nails to Boys to Men.
Boyz II Men. I guess Backstreet NSYNC. That was like or I guess no, early 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it was maybe Backstreet. I don't know if the boy bands they were like a little bit later, but
Yeah, a little bit later. Blackstreet though. Blackstreet was '90s.
oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
My
Blackstreet.
God, you and I could do this all day long for
Yeah,
sure. We
and
could do this
happily
all
so.
day. What I'm interested to know, because I haven't asked you, what kind of surgeries do you do? You mentioned, I mean, obviously spine, you mentioned that many times. What kind of things specifically do you do?
Yeah, so I'm currently orthopedic spine surgeon practicing in New York. So most of what I do is sort of any spine surgery from the occiput, which is the lower part of the back of the skull, down to the tailbone. So mostly I'm doing a lot of degenerative spine. So conditions that, arthritic conditions that lead to pressure or pinching of the nerves. So things that could generally cause neck pain, radiating arm pain. So really, the full array of spine surgery, and occasionally scoliosis cases as well. So the full the full gamut.
It's very different nowadays. Like the kids who have,
Oh
it's not even Harrington rods, right, anymore. Do they even put those in? It's more of like a
no.
pulley kind of system, right?
Right, yeah. So there are like growing rods that they use now, and then also different types of fixation. So it's amazing when I talk to patients. They're like, "Oh, spine surgery is so scary. I've heard all these horror stories." But I always remind patients like we didn't even have iPhones back then.
Yeah.
When back before 15, 20 years ago. But now modern techniques and modern spine is night and day difference compared to how things were.
Yeah, when I had my surgery, I think it was like literally Dr. Shufflebarger who had brought that procedure over from Europe. I think was it like the Cloyd Dubois, which was like the second one. I think that's kind of how you said it. I may be getting
Hmm.
that wrong. He brought it over. And if I had had the surgery, I think like 6 months prior, I would have been in a body cast for 6 months. And because he had brought this procedure over, I was in the hospital for a week, missed 6 months of school. Obviously, you have to be very careful, like waiting for you know all this, the bone fusion and all that stuff.
Right.
But listen, I've had twins, I've run marathons, I've done triathlons, and so there ain't no stopping me, including 2 rods in my back along my spine.
And still going strong and stronger than ever, and it goes a long way. Cause yeah, you're absolutely right. Prior to that, spine surgery was so different. So
Yeah.
you had a good procedure done at the right time.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I read that your grandmother, this was your grandmother's quote, and I'm taking this because it's really good. You said, "I'm thankful for the long, dark nights, the hard parts, the sweat, the pain, and all the tears, because in the words of my grandmother, if the mountains were smooth, you wouldn't be able to climb it." Is that
Oh,
true? Did she say that?
absolutely, one of my favorite lines. We don't, when always as a kid, you're like, "Oh, it's too hard," or like, "Oh, I'm dealing with this," and it's a constant reminder that without those difficult parts of life, you don't have that rung to pull you up. And so yeah, in Creole, like they say, si mon nante douce ou pat ka monter, which means if the mountain were smooth, you wouldn't be able to climb it. So you need those ridges, you need those parts that jut out that make it seem like it's hard, but those hard parts allow you to ascend. And then once you get to the top, you get to look down and appreciate all the hard work that it took to get there. So
Yeah.
absolutely one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah, if you don't have the eviction notice on the door, then you don't get to realize how good it is when you're on the other side of things, right?
Absolutely, which is
Mhm.
beautifully said. And I think the tough part of life is when you're in the middle of the storm, you just kind of, wish that it was over quickly. But being able to sit in those spaces and learn those lessons allows you to have a much better appreciation for what you've overcome and what you've gotten through. And I can't even imagine like being here where I am today, having overcome those things, and having the opportunity and the blessing to be a spine surgeon and to be able to share music. Those dark nights, the difficulties, the moments when I didn't get into medical school and I had to apply again,
Mm,
all those things make it where I can wake up every day and appreciate it far more
amen.
than if it was too smooth.
Amen. Before I let you go, if you could sing a duet with one person living or not living, who would it be? You have had to have been asked this question before. You know who it is? Good reaction though. I know you've been asked this question before.
I have, but I was gonna switch it up though. You said living or dead. I would actually sing with Elvis Presley.
Yeah. What would you sing?
I would probably sing "Fools Rush In."
That's a great song.
Yeah. The reason I thought about it, I was like, well, you know what? Actually, let me switch it up. Let me do someone who's not alive. That'd be actually really cool.
So give me a little Fools Rush In then. I can't get Elvis for you, but I got one Elvis.
Got one Elvis. Let's see. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help but falling in love with you. And the lights went out.
Mic drop. You're awesome.
Oh, awesome. You are amazing. I love the questions. Love your entire energy and also what you represent, and also more importantly, the voices you decide to amplify. And so much love. I look forward to continuing to watch and learn.
Well, listen, I'll be in New York for NBA. I'd love to grab a cup of coffee. I do not want to be on your operating table, but I wouldn't mind getting a cup of coffee with you sometime.
We'll look forward to it. We'll definitely make that happen.
I'll take you out for a cup of coffee to thank you for your time. And
I love it
so much for your time. You're wonderful. I wish you all the best.
You likewise. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. That was amazing. I like I said, oh my gosh, music is literally the soundtrack of my life. Actually, it's funny. My high school, Piper High School in Sunrise, Florida, we had a radio station there, WKPX. That's where I kind of got my start in all this media stuff. I was a freshman. My dad, the summer before my freshman year, I took a radio class for rising freshmen for high school students at Columbia College in Chicago. I used to ride the bus from Lansing, Illinois. I would pick it up at the White Hen, shout out White Hen, and I would take it down to Columbia College in Chicago. My dad would let me take that by himself. I didn't know he was like driving behind the bus, but I went to a radio class, and so then I was able to get into the radio program at WKPX Piper High School as a freshman, and I would go in and I would read the news. And we were the one like alternative station back in the 90s. So this would be 90 to 94 when I was there. My boyfriend Lee actually was there as well. He worked at the station. He had his own show called Modern Music Countdown. And modern music was like Temple of the Dog, Nirvana. We played all of that stuff for the very first time. So truly, and as I mentioned, growing up in the 90s, as I just said with Elvis, it's impossible not to have just this eclectic range of music. I mean, I will listen to anything, hip hop, gangster rap, alternative. 9 Inch Nails is one of my favorites, Smashing Pumpkins, all that stuff. So to hear all that stuff and to kind of have those talks, that was really, really cool. But music has absolutely been a theme of my life. My grandfather sang. He was a swooner, he was sort of like Frank Sinatra, but I remember when he was dying, he had dementia. My mom and her sister and their siblings got him some recording studio time. And I'll actually, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna send my producer a little piece of my grandfather singing, and we can play it on this podcast. We'll kind of put it in right here.
Broken dreams. All right, I got it. I walk along the street of sorrow, the boulevard of broken dreams, where gigolo and gigolettes can't take a kiss without regrets, and then forget their broken dreams. You laugh tonight and cry tomorrow, when you behold your shattered schemes. And gigolo and gigolettes wake up to find their eyes are wet with tears that tell of broken dreams. Here is where you'll always find me, always walking up and down. But I left my soul behind me in that old cathedral town. The joy that you find here, you borrow. You cannot keep it long, it seems. And gigolo and gigolettes, they sing a song and dance along the boulevard of broken dreams.
So that was my grandfather. Yeah. So music has certainly been a part of my life forever, ever, ever, ever. And now my son, as I mentioned, Liam, is a huge, he loves singing. He literally sings all day, every day. He's been in musical theater since he was 6 years old, from The Lion King to, I mean, everything across the board. Peter Pan, Into the Woods. He's been in every play, and he's really good. And yeah, he's really, really good. So I don't know where I was going with that. I was just kind of maybe bragging on Liam a little bit, and just thank Dr. Elvis for that. And for my serenade, I'm ready to go, man. I got a little Elvis, a little serenade, and that's a perfect way to end this podcast. We'll see you next week, everyone.